Housing development progress. Number one and the best. Housing development progress. Number one. Number one. Housing development progress. Number one and the best. Housing development progress. Number one. Housing development progress. In Nigeria. Housing development progress. In Africa. Housing development progress. And the globe. Number one. Housing development progress.
The upgrades of slums should be a priority for every administration. Our citizens look up to their leaders to provide necessary and basic amenities in order to have a conducive environment to live in, even in slums. The infrastructure in slums is often deteriorated or incomplete, and they are primarily inhabited by impoverished people. Welcome to Housing Development, a program that advocates for the provision of low-cost, quality, and decent housing for Nigerians. As always, I am your housing diva, Flora Ani. Before we kickstart the program as usual, let's get to see what is happening in the news around the housing sector.
The Lagos State government has served contravention notice to property owners along the corridor of Sharoline Estate, Onikoyi Estate, Parkview and Banana Island, whose properties fall within channel setbacks. The government issued a 7-day ultimatum to house owners along the corridor of the state to remove their fences encroaching on drainage channels. Commissioner for Environment and Water Resources Tokunbo Wahab stated this over the weekend while addressing newsmen after an inspection of some areas in Ikoyi, including the State House, Dodan Barracks. He said most structures in the area did not observe the standard 3 meters required by law for the setback of secondary collector drains. The Architects Registration Council of Nigeria, ARCON, has called on architects to set aside their differences and work together to support the government's development agenda. ARCON President Sadipo Ajayi made this call during the induction of 614 architects, 54 architectural technologists, and 86 firms in Abuja. Ajayi acknowledged challenges including a rift between architectural profession, including the rift between the Nigerian Institute of Architects (NIA) and the Association of Nigerian Chartered Architects (ANCA), stressing the need for unity in the architectural profession. He highlighted ministerial directives for ARCON to arbitrate the conflicts, recognizing the industry's internal struggles. The governor of Lagos State, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, has revealed the government's ongoing review of the Property Law of Lagos State 2010 and the Rental Law of Lagos State 2011. Speaking at the 5th Lateef Jakonde Housing Lecture Series, organized by the Real Estate Developers Association of Nigeria, Sanwo-Olu emphasized the government's commitment to protecting the interests of investors and end users in the state through these legal reviews. During the event, Sanwo-Olu emphasized the government's drive for efficiency and customer satisfaction through digitizing departmental processes. Acknowledging strides in housing provision, he urged stakeholders to collaborate in reducing building costs. The governor encouraged sponsorship of research into innovative building technology, underlining its significance for advancing the housing sector in Lagos State. The Kaduna State Governor, Uba Sani, is set to receive a prestigious performance award at the Africa Housing Awards 2023 after HDAN's thorough 3-month appraisal, recognizing his outstanding service delivery. The award ceremony will be held at the International Conference Center in Abuja on Sunday, December 17th. Not only Governor Uba Sani but key stakeholders from the mortgage and housing sectors across Africa will gather for the 5th edition, celebrating significant contributions to the housing industry. Governor Sani's recognition is well-deserved given his remarkable collaboration with Qatar to provide 5,000 housing units for low-income earners in Kaduna State. This marks a pivotal moment, setting the stage for continued achievements and fostering collaboration among industry leaders.
That's it. You can read the full details of the news by visiting www.africanhousingnews.com. Abuja is a beautiful city to live in, with its glint and glamour. But what takes the beauty away is the city slums and rural areas that has been neglected over time. A visit to Kadokushi in the FCTA further gives us an insight into the plight and cries of many Nigerians living in slums. Our correspondent brings the full report.
Kadokushi, a settlement within Jahi, a community in the Federal Capital Territory. It is largely inhabited by civil servants, artisans, and petty traders. A visit to Kadokushi revealed the untold hardship residents face given the absence of basic amenities. Houses in this community are dilapidated, with no electricity supply and pipe-borne water, just as most houses lack toilet facilities. Residents have to construct what is known as bacha in order to ease themselves. Among the necessities of life, good roads and water appear to be the greatest challenges of Kadokushi's residents. An indigene of the community by the name Gloria expressed her pain over easy access to water and good roads.
We don't have water and we don't have road. And where we buy water is far from us. In our various compounds, we don't have water. And our challenge is mostly what we need is water and road.
Amidst the challenges facing the community, Faith, a resident in Kadokushi, spoke about the cost of accommodation as a high influx of people into the community have made the price of houses expensive.
We suffered payments in our house rent, depending on the house. Some houses are not that good like that, but have higher, but have like 150, depending on the room, but not that for family, just a single room.
Malam Meikasuwa Madaki Tukura, the Dakachi of Kadokushi, spoke to Housing TV Africa. He lamented about the neglect of the federal government towards the community.
Kuma yanzu gonakinmu duka an karba ba mu da wurin noma. Yadda nake zama haka tun da safe har zuwa yamma ina zaune haka ba wurin da zan fita nje. To ina ne zan samu abinci? Ba kudi ba aiki.
The poor drainage system in this community is unhealthy. As a resident of the community, Samuel Moses lamented about the construction of drainages while calling on the federal government to do the needful.
What we are lacking now, the street road should be tied and everywhere it should be okay. We are telling government to come and look into this our street road so that they will tie the road and they make everywhere to be, there will be a gutter in some of the areas so that the environment will be clean.
His Royal Highness Alhaji Suleiman Dodo, the chief of the Kadokushi community, spoke to Housing TV Africa. He highlighted the challenges facing the community and health care is one of them.
Wani zai yi rashin lafiya ba mu da asibiti wanda zamu ce bari mu yi manage a kai shi asibiti nan kusa wanda before a kai na general ba mu da shi. To kamun ka ce zaka doce mutum ka kai shi asibitin to sai ka ga ya doce lokaci sai ka ga mutum ya Allah ya yi cikawa a hanya saboda rashin asibiti saboda rashin hanya.
As the residents of Kadokushi have been able to contribute their own quota to the development of the community, they call on the federal government to come to their aid in ensuring that Kadokushi is provided with good roads, water, healthcare facilities, amongst other basic amenities.
This is a good development. It's something that we encourage others to look forward to annually, and I hope they'll be able to sustain this. And as a senator, I will see how we can give support to them in the Senate so that they can go ahead to improve housing in Nigeria.
I'd be happy, and also this challenge in the sense that this is absent from more work because you are doing the work and people are seeing you and what the person actually doing. So I want to thank the organizers for finding you work in this area.
To further get clarity on the upgrades of slums in the Federal Capital Territory, Housing Development had an exclusive interview with the Director of Development Control, Tpl Muktar Galadima. He spoke intensively about the upgrade of slums in the city center, issues surrounding compensations, resettlement, as well as the collaboration between the Department of Development Control and the FCTA Minister. Take a listen.
We need to understand the historical perspective of the Federal Capital Territory. Before 1976, there were communities living in their own natural setting. So with the coming of the FCT in 1976, plans were made and these communities were also met. The decision or the policy of the federal government was all indigenous communities within this city, within the Federal Capital City precinct, will be taken out to places of their choice. So that's when we have what we call the resettlement policy. So some of them opted to be out of the Federal Capital Territory. That's why you have Sabongusi in Niger State, you have New Karu in Nasarawa State, New Yanya. Then others opted to remain within the Federal Capital Territory. So the policy further stipulated that, okay, you can remain within the Federal Capital Territory, but anytime the development within the Federal Capital City comes to these indigenous communities, they are to be resettled from that indigenous communities. That's why you have in Cuba, you have Maitama, you have Ukwawa settlements, you have Ushapa, Pai, Jigo. These were indigenous communities that were taken out of their natural setting to be resettled somewhere. D2, Garki village, they are supposed to be resettled at Apple because the plan, everything, houses are also, so they are to be moved to Apple resettlement. Similarly, communities like Gudu, Durumi, Piwoyi, Piakasa, and the rest, they are to be resettled at Wasa. Communities like Jabi Yakubu, Jabi Samuel, Patna, Utako, Mabushi, they are to be resettled at Shere Galui. So all these villages that you meet, which you call them slum, but these are in their natural setting, is that the population has increased. So the available facilities that were sustaining these natural communities is now being stressed. There is so much pressure on the available facilities and services. Even though some of them, like Karo, they had facilities even before the coming of the FCT Act, the FCT 1976. So just like Karo, you can say slum. So what you see, yes, what I've just said now is that they are natural indigenous communities that other Nigerians now come to meet them, and then as a result of the population concentration, now we're having pressures on the available community facilities and services. Definitely, when you go to Kabusa, you will see a primary school, isn't it? This is a community facility. I'm sure there are clinics and so many other things like that. And recently, the chairman of Abuja Municipal Area Council has embarked on some of these urban renewal cases, I think somewhere in Gosa and the rest. So, but in the plan of the FCT, if development catches up with some these communities, they are ideally to be resettled. Taking the case of Garki village, you see, I think any moment from now, if the administration desires, is to resettle them at Apple, because Apple has been completed. And I believe all of them, they have been allocated their houses that government has built for them. So it's up to government to move in. So ditto for Kabusa. When the time comes, by the time infrastructure facilities and services being provided there, and then there is need for them to be relocated, they will be relocated. But maybe as an interim measure, I think your focus now is let there be some remedial measures, some interim provision of services, so that it can be handled by, it can take care of the communities. Yeah, so yes, then I would suggest the area council service secretariat of the Federal Capital Territory Administration can coordinate this in liaison with the Abuja Municipal Area Council. Any moment from now, the government is to relocate them. I know one fundamental reason why they have not been moved, because the indigenes claim that the chief's palace has not been completed, so they cannot move without their chief.
Okay.
So that's the outstanding development.
Okay.
So once the chief's palace is completed, then I believe the indigenes will go, and then once they go.
It's good news. Are you a stakeholder in the built environment, or you are looking for an authentic, credible source for housing and construction news in Africa? You now have an opportunity. Africa International Housing Show has now created a unique opportunity for you by establishing a full-fledged housing television, the first of its kind in Africa. You can now access information on home ownership, rental, building materials, finance, real estate, and insurance, among others, all on Housing TV Africa, channel 149 on StarTime.
Hi, I'm Bob Weinsheng, CEO of iBuild Global. Keep watching the Housing Development Program.
There you have it from Town Planner Muktar Galadima, the Director of FCT Development Control. Slum upgrade is very crucial and necessary at this time in the Federal Capital Territory. Let's take a short break. I will be back.
It is that time of the year where we celebrate the excellent achievements of individuals and companies in the housing and construction industry. Which company or individual deserves to be honored for exceptionalism, hard work, dedication, and success in the construction and housing industry at the prestigious Africa Housing Awards 2023? Who deserves to be crowned the Housing Finance Person of the Year, Real Estate Company of the Year, CEO of Real Estate of the Year, Most Housing-Friendly Governor of the Year, Furniture Company of the Year, Most Admired Real Estate Brand, and other 30 categories. Vote for your preferred company and individual via the website www.africahousingawards.com. Africa Housing Awards, the most prestigious housing awards in Africa.
We don't have road. And you see, at times, if it is raining, you will see a lot of people will go by the roadside. They'll be thrown dirt on the main road. We also doesn't have toilet. You will see a toilet, you will see up to 30 tenants. They are using one. You can't leave your door open, go and buy something. Before you will know, Babambola will enter. By the time you will take them to police station, 1 hour is too much. The police people will release them. In fact, we don't know what is happening.
This is the situation with many citizens in not just Nigeria. Are we ready for this conversation? What is the plight of an average Nigerian citizen in regards to housing? Housing is a fundamental human right, and these issues must be addressed.
You're watching Housing Development. What risks are associated with living in slums? Well, let's find out from these Nigerians on Voices on the Street.
The risks involved in those places are, there are all kinds of vices. People find themselves in fighting, quarreling. You find youths coming up with stealing abilities and skills. All these Yahoo boys at a smaller level. You see all these kind of things coming up in the slums because no guidance, and you find that the level of interaction and education is low, mostly in such areas. So some of these things come up. So I would advise the government to look into these areas of housing.
For those involved in slum, let me start with the health perspective. For the health perspective, I believe the place is not safe, it's not conducive for humans to live. Because if you have seen how the slum is, let's start with the water that they drink. With the current outbreak of cholera now in Nigeria, you see that there's high break of cholera. Why? The water is not conducive enough for them. Not talking about the environment, it's not hygienic enough for them. So if there is a spread of disease, if the COVID-19 really hits Nigeria the way it hits other countries like the US, I'm not sure most people in the slum are going to survive it because of the spread. Employment is the first thing the government should do, and there should be provision of incentive for those living in those areas. Provision of incentive would be very nice for them, and free education. I think education is just the backbone of everything.
The risk involved in living in slums they are countless, but let me just name few. Unhealthy living. Mostly the people living in slums, they develop certain issues in their health. They don't live long, and they are, their health is at risk because there's no good ventilation there. They don't breathe in good air.
One of the risks is one is flooding, bad environment, insecurity. At times training children in such environments is really unacceptable, very, very risky. And again, most importantly is flooding. Like the area that I'm staying now, the issues that we have there now is flooding. Each time that even a little rain can cause a very big flooding. They can lose houses, human beings at times. Yeah, I'm sure of what I'm saying. So my advice to the government is in such area they should locate them, provide security, good roads, housing, yes, and employment to the youth.
It's good news. Are you a stakeholder in the built environment, or you are looking for an authentic, credible source for housing and construction news in Africa? You now have an opportunity. Africa International Housing Show has now created a unique opportunity for you by establishing a full-fledged housing television, the first of its kind in Africa. You can now access information on home ownership, rental, building materials, finance, real estate, and insurance, among others, all on Housing TV Africa, channel 149 on StarTime.
It is exactly 4 days to go for the prestigious Africa Housing Awards. Join us on the 17th of December 2023 at the International Conference Center, Abuja, Nigeria, as we honor notable and credible key players in the housing sector who have shaped the housing and construction industry and set the pace for others to follow.
And the winner is...
We've been recognized because of the hard work, and then we understand as well that hard work means more work.
I wish to appreciate and recommend the African Housing Awards and Mr. Festus Adebayo for another unique approach of organizing governments, corporate organizations, and individuals.
End of the year industry dinner, also using the opportunity to give honors and awards to those who have done in a better way than others. For instance, those who have shown some level of creativity, those who have shown some level of innovations. So that's why you see all of us, see many commissioners here, many MD. You can see the MD of Federal Movement Bank, family for all of them here tonight, because this is the biggest event and most prestigious platform where we all gather at the end of the year to say thank you, God, and they also say thank you to those among us who have done better than others.
Thank you for watching today's episode of the program. Tune in next week for another insightful and informative episode. I remain your housing diva, Fleur Anne. Do have a lovely day.